it me that I'm fulfilling, or is it the shareholder, you know? And it was during COVID. I went up to Geeta. I was like, this is what we need to do. We need to ask landlords for permission to rent their property out. We need to look for tired landlords. And she was sort of like, okay, well, okay. And actually, they hadn't disclosed it. We sort of gave the keys back, and they understood there was a little bit of frustration there. 3-year deal with the landlord at a really competitive rent. And yeah, we've started a 3-year term, and we've started it off with a 43-night booking as well.
Wow, wow. What's that worth? Harris, what's happening, my bro?
All good, making it happen, Simon. Got my wife Geeta in the background as well.
Perfect, perfect. I just want to introduce yourself in terms of where you're from and your business name.
Yeah, we're based out of the Midlands, Birmingham, Wolverhampton. We're Montague Stays. We're a service accommodation provider.
Perfect. So we're live and direct at the Rent to Rent retreat. What's been your biggest take home so far?
Simon, I think it's just being surrounded by like-minded people. Learning all the tricks of the trade, systemization, how to make things actually happen. But I think being in an environment where people make it happen, I think that's infectious in itself. And I think there's sort of a period where you can procrastinate a little bit too much. But when you're around people that are making it happen, it makes you want to make it happen. So
Mad.
yeah.
Was you surprised at how many people in there have like got deals and smashing it?
Yeah, I am actually, to be fair. I mean that in a pleasant way as well.
Yeah.
You can often go into environments where there's a lot of people starting out. There's a lot of people that have not only got deals, they've got multiple deals, and they're talking about systemizing 10K plus months and beyond. So it's a great environment to be in.
Yeah, I mean, even me, like, I'm surprised. Like, you know, we have a part of the day where we basically do something for the start crew, and they do some people for takeoff and the first class. And literally over half of the room, if not 65% of the room, already have deals and now scaling. Got the likes of Emily and Rob, 65 grand month. Madness. In 11 months. Madness. You guys are about to smash it. So just talk to us about like life before this transformation. Like what is your big why? What was going through your head?
Life is full-time work. I think it was just very much, and I think we're still there at the moment, but we're starting to make that transition now. Living that quote unquote perfect government lifestyle. We've got the mortgage, we've got the house, we're really happy in a corporate job, Geeta's in an educational background. And I think it's just thinking about what else is out there. I've kind of got to a stage now where I'm thinking about, is it me that I'm fulfilling, or is it the shareholder, you know? And how am I going to change my life long term? How am I going to change my family's life long term? And actually, how am I going to build a legacy long term? And it's to try and do something different. And I think in property, because I've always seen it in family in the past, it's always that foundational form of investing, if you will. You've got stocks and shares, you've got all these other forms of investing, but then rent to rent was something a little bit different, an opportunity to use said learnt skills and try and build something tangible long term.
Sure. Did you have property experience before starting rent to rent?
Besides purchasing our own property, no.
Okay, sweet. So when you first heard of this concept, you know, where did you hear it? What did you think? Like, what was your thought process?
Do you know what? I'm going to out myself a little bit. I've always been that kind of person that will do the scrolling, but then do the research as well. So it's been a couple of years since I've known about rent to rent, if I'm being totally honest with you. I was a bit like a mad scientist when I heard about it as well. And it was during COVID. I went up to Geeta. I was like, this is what we need to do. We need to ask landlords for permission to rent their property out. We need to look for tired landlords, and we need to make it a hands-off experience for them. And she was sort of like, okay, well, okay. But lo and behold, a couple of years later, we're both in that boat together, and a lot of learning in between that time period as well. And yeah, I think we sort of realised that actually we can continue to, and it's not that we're not working hard now, but work so hard for that few years to buy that buy-to-let investment property and go down the old school route. How long is it going to take to build a cash flowing business in that manner? And I think educating ourselves to understand there's a difference between cash flow and legacy building has been really powerful.
Wow, perfect.
Yeah,
I like this. So I'm just thinking back to that conversation that we had, because as you know, I insist on speaking to every single person because I want to know you, and this is our first time meeting in person, but you'd given it a bit of a go beforehand, right? And you was doing a few other bits. Can you talk to me about like how that was?
Yeah, and I mean this with the utmost of respect. We've sort of divvied in and out, and then committed to another external sort of training environment as well. And as much as that was a great experience, particularly the networking, I think things like accountability, you hold yourself to account, right? But a lot of it is to do with the environment that you're in as well. That simply wasn't there in the past, and I think that then has a material effect on you. You know, some periods you feel like you're all the way in, and then you're with other people and they're more in than you, and you don't understand the difference, and then suddenly 12 months has gone by, suddenly 24 months has gone by. You went from doing the research to being in an environment where you probably didn't bring the best out of yourself. But I think openly and honestly, since we've been in this environment, it's been just over 90 days now, to be fair. There's been that feeling of other people being totally committed around you. They've gone through the same experience themselves. But then also, you know, that proverbial hand holding as well, where you give us an understanding of how does this work? How doesn't it work? And, you know, being able to sort of give us the confidence to apply ourselves. And that's what the experience has been in this environment, to be fair. Holding us accountable to take massive action.
And that's what you've done.
Yeah.
Because I know that was a hard decision, and I know a lot of people try this for a year or 2 years.
Yeah.
They don't get results and they quit. And especially when it involves investing in yourself, it's nerve-wracking. You know, you go into the back of the room. You're thinking. That's the Dragon's Den room, by the way. To have a chat with partner and think, you know, we've just done that. It's not worked. Should we really do this? And is this going to work for us? What was it that made you overcome that doubt and think, do you know what, this is right, come in with the right mindset, and then get the results in just 90 days?
Yeah. I think it's the why, if I'm being totally honest with you. I think it's sort of being able to sort of take time to walk away from maybe a certain environment, to sort of say, maybe I wasn't ready then, maybe I wasn't mentally ready, to sort of recalibrate yourself in silence and sort of remember what your why was. And the why is to sort of long-term build a cash flowing business so that we can free ourselves from our immediate environments, not because we hate it or anything like that, but just because we want more from life, and we've got more value to add to our lives and others, but then long-term building the legacy as well for the family.
Perfect, amen to that. So you got your first deal?
Yeah.
Do you want to tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, sure. It was an interesting experience, to be fair, and actually it was through an agent. We'd always sort of had success on a direct-to-vendor basis, and actually before this, we had essentially secured a direct-to-vendor deal, and I think I remember speaking to you about it. It sort of went wrong after sort of a week when we realised there was a massive leak in the building.
Yeah.
And technically speaking, you know, we're contractually sort of covered anyway, but if a landlord isn't disclosing said information, it's null and void to a certain extent, and actually they hadn't disclosed it. We sort of gave the keys back, and they understood there was a little bit of frustration there. But then we sort of recalibrated and said, look, we need to attack, and we need to include agents in that as well. Started calling agents, got plenty of no's, but I think the difference was because we were motivated. The no's were kind of like, we were buzzing off them. We were like, yes, got a no. Yes, got a no. But we didn't want to be doing that forever.
Yeah.
Got through to a specific agent in our local radius and our neighbourhood, and sort of, you know, said the old, look, really interested in this property. We went down the direct route.
Nice.
I get a little bit uncomfortable with the indirect route. I don't know what that is. I feel like I've got the confidence to pull it off, but I feel like I just want to say it as it is. Went down the old route of, look, this property wouldn't be for ourselves. It would be housed through our company. We look to house construction workers on a medium to long-term basis, and we work alongside different companies. And that's the route that we've gone down. And they sort of said, do you know what? Yeah, tell us a bit more about your company. Spoke a bit more about the company. And then she said, great, you're going to go down and you're going to see the landlord there. And that's where I thought, right, let's get personal here. Great face-to-face meeting with the landlord. Landlord was open and honest and said that he was taking viewings off other people as well. But by the end of that meeting, you know, little nuggets here and there as well. And then he asked a few questions about the company. I felt confident that he liked me as a person, and I focused on building that relationship. Lo and behold, a week later, the agents have sort of said, yeah, the landlord's picked you.
Wow.
And would want to proceed.
Wow.
And that's not the end of the deal, to be fair, because then that experience with the agents was interesting because they were working for the landlord on a let-only basis. So actually, it's sort of like a direct-to-vendor deal anyway.
Yeah.
The landlords actually picked us. But it was going through the contracts. They didn't like the contract that was presented. They wanted to use their contract. we went through the contract with yourselves, and ultimately we tweaked a few bits and bobs to lock in a 3-year deal with the landlord at a really competitive rent. And yeah, we've started a 3-year term, and we've started it off with a 43-night booking as well.
Wow, wow. What's that worth?
Yeah, turnover, post commissions, etc., just over 5.5 grand.
Bang.
Yeah.
Within how long of signing the deal, or
Technically,
or
we
it being live?
it was within a week of signing the deal. 2 days. Excuse
2
me.
days.
It says 2 days. It was 2 days.
So 5
Yeah.
grand in the door within 2 days of going
Yeah,
live.
yeah. And you get invoiced at different times, but technically that's guaranteed income into the business. So you can start speculating and, you know, forecasting what are the next 2 months going to be looking like now. And we'd put dummy listings up on Airbnb, Booking.com, but we put one up on Comfy Workers as well. And, you know, we've been able to connect with a couple of people on those direct sites as well. It's really, really been powerful. And do you know what? Building relationships with people, picking up the phone, sending the right kind of emails, but being a real person as well. I think it's helped massively. So 43 nights. And yeah, we're still learning how to do everything else, but that 43-night leeway has been massive.
Yeah, because we was talking about it earlier. We want to make sure that after those 43 nights, we're ready to hit the ground running.
Yeah.
So we're exploring those strategies around that.
Yeah.
So it's really positive.
Yeah.
So I've been asking everybody this: where do you want to be at the Super Conference in January?
7 deals, over 10 grand. Well, 10 grand turnover being made. Really, I want sort of 15 grand. I want 8 grand profit being made on a monthly basis, taking into consideration seasonality and all of the other aspects as well. But we're going to make it happen, Simon.
Perfect. That means first class.
That means first class. I want to be on that yacht with you.
If this is what I'm saying. It's like beautiful. We definitely will be summer 2025, the exclusive BRR retreat. Only for 6 and 7 figure big rent-to-renters. I know you're going to be there. If you was going to advise people at home, maybe they've got doubts, imposter syndrome, maybe they've been burnt by one of those hippie courses where they ran to the back of the room and now they think it can't work. What would you tell them?
Remember your why, and just remember that you can. There are people out there that have been in the same position as you. And get yourself in the right room and remember your why, and take massive action. Even when you don't want to, even when you need to take a little bit of a break and recalibrate. Just remember your why and go again. Make it happen.
Bro, you're the man. It's getting a bit blowy out here, so let's go inside and have a drink.
Hair's going to go everywhere.
Peace.